How are you? How are things going now?
Yeah, fine actually. Like the sun's out, feel, a little bit more positive, I think, about everything.
Makes such a
But
big difference. Like where I am in Glasgow, we had kind of 10 inches of snow, and it only went away like 2 weeks ago or something like that. So
oh my God, 10 inches of snow.
yeah,
That's yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like I know that's such a basic thing to say, but when the sun's out, I feel like a completely different person.
just to kind of get started. This is such a sweet film. It's got a lot of heart. As the kind of film title suggests. What attracted you to the character and what your initial thoughts in the script?
Um, well, I think the first thing that struck me about the script was how funny it was. And it just had a it was just a it was a script full of funny women, and I instantly was just like, yes, great. And I tend to feel that when I read a script, it's the scripts that I think about later that I think, okay, that's a good one. The ones that you forget immediately, it's always a good sign, basically, when you're sort of thinking about it and mulling over it. And so I think from reading it and then reading it again, I think I read it twice. I think I was just kind of sold, really. I thought that this is great.
Yeah. When I was, speaking to, Marley earlier, I kind of asked the same question. Were you dragged in these caravan holidays, when you were growing up?
Oh God, that's a good question. Do you know what? I'm embarrassed to say not. I did a bit of camping. It was more of a camping thing for me instead of caravans. But how old was I then? As a early 20 something woman, I absolutely loved it.
I think,
So
I think just now most people would probably be happy with a caravan holiday with lockdown. Even if you do get the cheesy tribute acts and whatnot.
oh my gosh, absolutely. I completely agree. And I think, you know, it was such a beautiful place, actually, the surroundings as well as the place. Like, it was a really special thing to be able to go and, especially at the end of season when it is cooling down a bit, but the weather's still really beautiful and it's not kind of overwhelmingly hot. And yeah, I felt very lucky when I was there.
Your character, you do a lot of complex themes, a lot of complex issues. When you were preparing, did it make you reflect on that point in your life, and how much of that did you kind of use for the role?
Oh, hugely. I think because AJ's 17, and I really related to that experience, but probably about 2 years before. But I think when I was about 15, I remember really feeling like that and having that kind of relationship with my mum, and everything just being very, very intense. And in some ways, I really feel about AJ that she is a bit young. So I think everything that she was experiencing, you know, I felt I was experiencing like a year or so before, if that makes any sense at all. Um,
One
uh,
of those things that you were drawn in some experiences, but you didn't want to tap into it too much.
um, that's a good question. Um, I never felt, I definitely was tapping in. I definitely felt like I was at points tapping in, but I think because AJ is just from a different place to me. She's got these different experiences. She has these different kind of obstacles, really. I mean, some of them are very similar and are very universal to the teenage experience, but a lot of them are very personal to her. That I think instead of tapping in, I think it was a lot of the time it was empathy. I think I've just felt massive empathy for AJ, and even just from reading the script in the first instance, you just want AJ to be okay. You want her to win.
We've obviously spoke about the that mother daughter dynamic, and Joe Hartley in this is brilliant. That
Mhm.
chemistry you guys have got, feels really natural. Is that something you had to work on, or was it just a spark that you had on set?
Oh God, I'll say something and then Joe might say something else if you ever ask her. No, I think it was a spark because we got on instantly, and I think what was great about Joe is that she really took the initiative with me, because very early on, before we started filming, she we would WhatsApp each other a lot, and I think actually having those conversations just randomly and be like, hey, what are you doing? I think that immediately just builds up a rapport. And actually during filming we had a lot of conversations about the work and, you know, working over scenes, and yeah, it was really good. I learned a huge amount from Joe, actually. Like, I felt very, very lucky to have a job like that with an actor like that.
AJ's style in the film is, you know, very, you know, distinctive. You know, were you able to, you know, steal the, you know, the bucket hat or the shades or anything like that?
Oh, such a good question. Actually, so AJ's jeans are now my jeans. I think I can actually in my house. Sorry, I'm in my childhood bedroom right now. Super cool. But no, so basically the jeans that AJ always wears, so Amy Thompson, who's the costume designer, who is amazing, before we started shooting, she wanted to take some of us out and kind of choose certain things that our characters would wear. And I think we were in Beyond Retro in just off Oxford Street, and I saw these jeans and I was like, it's got to be those, because they're just these magic jeans. Like, you know, those like Levi's that you have, and they're so personal in terms of most of them will look terrible on you, and then you'll find one pair and you're like, they're made for me, even though they belong to someone else. They must have been made for me. Yeah, so I've got those jeans.
And one thing I thought was, you know, kind of funny in, you know, Serial as well, is that, you know, knitting jumpers for elephants is actually a thing.
Yeah.
You know, that could be an idea for the sequel. If you guys do it, you could get that trip to Indonesia and, you know, fulfill AJ's dream, I suppose.
AJ's dream, absolutely. I think it's a great kind of quirk in the film. And actually, ironically, in lockdown I've been really getting into knitting, and I'm just looking at my massive, I'm knitting a blanket. It's just in the corner of my, anyway, yeah, so knitting is a big stress relief. I think it's a great thing to do, so I would definitely back AJ doing it as well.
And just, you know, one final question for you. At the moment, I understand that you're working on an animation, you know, Where is Anne Frank? How are things going with that? Where are you in that kind of process?
Oh, it's done, which is great. I mean, because that's been a very long process, actually. It's been really, really enjoyable. But I think I started doing that in 2018 or something, but because it's animation and it's just such a kind of intricate artistic process, you know, it takes a really long time. But I actually can't wait to see it, and I'm a massive fan of Ari Folman and the work that he makes.
Was that a case that you were in, you know, a studio, you know, on your own, you know, looking at, you know, kind of concept art, or were you actually able to kind of get with the cast?
So when I first started recording, yes, it was with the cast, and that was really great. And they didn't have any of the cartoons or the characters or anything like that. So if I'm allowed to call them cartoons, anyway, they didn't have any of the images. Really, they had some like rough ideas, but yeah, that was working with the cast, which was interesting because we were in Goldcrest Studios, and you're kind of, you know, someone else is across the room from you, and you've all got headphones on, and it's quite weird. But it's like weird. You just have to like, because you're in such a strange setting, you just have to like give it your all, and it's kind of all through the voice, and it was amazing, actually. It's a really good experience. But then the next time was actually when lockdown happened, so I was on my own. So I no longer had fellow humans, but I had the art, and so I could see my character is called Elsa Platt, who's it crosses between modern day and back in the 1930s, 40s, and I'm in the modern day, and I'm a policeman and policewoman. I don't know what, yeah, a policewoman. And yeah, I could see her on the screen, and it was lovely.
Well, Mel, thanks so much. I really appreciate your time. Yeah, best of luck, you know, with the movie and everything. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey